What's up, everybody? It's Roman Gennaro from Empire Sports Talk, and let's talk about the AFC West. I think this is the most intriguing division in football going into 2025 because I think these are four teams worth watching. I think these are four teams that could do some damage. So let's get into it. Number one, who I think is going to win the AFC West, and this should be of no surprise to anyone, is the Kansas City Chiefs. The last 2 years, they have proven to me that I cannot bet against them. They've had injuries. They've had contract issues. They've had wide receiver issues. And they've still managed to make the Super Bowl. Last year, I thought there's no way that they make the Super Bowl again because they're not as good on paper, because they have issues, because they have holes to address. And then they managed to go, 15-2 and get to the Super Bowl? And I was like, and that's 2 years in a row where I was like, they don't have so-and-so. There's no way. And then they do it. It's the Chiefs. It's Andy Reid. It's Mahomes. I'm not betting against it anymore. They do what they do. They've now signed Gardner Minshew and re-signed Bailey Zappi as backup quarterbacks. Do I think that's significant? No, because Patrick Mahomes plays 17 games. But if something were to happen, Gardner Minshew at Arrowhead would certainly be entertaining. They re-signed Kareem Hunt. They signed Elijah Mitchell at quarterback because we don't know if, what, where, when, why Isaiah Pacheco or Rashee Rice will get what we get, if anything. They re-signed Hollywood Brown. They re-signed Juju Smith-Schuster. They brought in Jalen Moore and Trey Smith on the offensive line. They re-signed George Karlaftis to a big 4-year, $93 million contract extension, which is not nothing. Nothing super, super big. They also re-signed Nick Bolton, which is not nothing. But this is the team everybody's trying to beat. So they don't have to make the big move. They just got to keep doing their thing. The newly engaged Travis Kelce, it just broke a few hours ago as I'm recording this on Tuesday. During what may be his last year, can he do it again? Number one, the Chiefs, no surprise there. I want to talk about the rest of the division, because I think the final three teams are going to be tight. This might seem crazy, but I think this is a 3 playoff team division. Number two, there's just too much to like to not go with the Chargers. They did lose Bosa, but they brought in Naheem Hines. They brought in Jalen Reagor. They brought in Najee Harris, who there's some injury questions, but he seems good to go for the regular season. They re-signed Khalil Mack. They brought in Tyler Conklin at tight end. And I just think Justin Herbert is too good. Jim Harbaugh is too good a coach. I think this is the year the Chargers make the playoffs. Third, I have the Denver Broncos. They brought in J.K. Dobbins from across the division. They brought in Evan Ingram. They brought in linebacker Dre Greenlaw. I think this team is going to be good like they were a year ago, but there's something in my gut that says Bo Nix is going to have a sophomore slump. He is older, so there's less likelihood of that, but we've seen so many rookie quarterbacks in the last 2 or 3 years have such good first years that we have not seen that many true sophomore slumps. CJ Stroud had one a bit a year ago, but that's only because his rookie year was so good that I think he still had a good season, all things considered, but there was a drop-off. I think the AFC West is so stacked and so many teams just came in ready to go that I think if Bo Nix has a drop-off, it's going to be a problem. And fourth, and this is where it might be crazy, because I actually see them tying for third, and I said this could be a 3-team division. If there's injuries, if injuries throws this division into chaos, you have the Las Vegas Raiders bringing in Pete Carroll as head coach, re-signing Max Crosby to a 3-year extension, bringing in Ashton Genty in the draft. There are a lot of pieces on this roster where I think they could mess around and make a problem. All of the teams in this division are bunched up in the middle in terms of strength of schedule, so they could all beat up on each other. They could all beat up on teams with worse records than them and be in positions to be 9-8, 10-7, 11-6. Do I think the Raiders will make the playoffs? Not necessarily. But if you're asking me about bold predictions, as I have just published, as I said, a list of bold predictions on EmpireSportsTalk.com, just for the fun of it, one of them was the Las Vegas Raiders will make the playoffs as a wild card team. I just think as many eyes as are on the AFC West, as much of a glow up as this division as a whole has had over the last 2 seasons or so, not enough people are looking out in Vegas. So that's the AFC West. 1, Kansas City Chiefs. I'm done betting against them just for the sake of doing it. 2, Los Angeles Chargers. I think this is the year, with 1 year under his belt at the helm, that Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert put it together and make the playoffs. And 3B, because I think there'll be a tie at the bottom, and I do think this is a 3-team division for the playoffs. The Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders. I didn't even mention Geno Smith as the starter for the Raiders, and the fact that they just traded for Kenny Pickett as a backup with the Aiden O'Connell injury. But I do, most importantly, think that Bo Nix will have something of a sophomore slump, even though he's like 38 years old. At this point, I do think he will have a sophomore slump, just enough for the Las Vegas Raiders to make things really interesting in the AFC West. On the next video, we jump into the NFC, and we start with the NFC East. Until then, I'm Roman Gennaro of Empire Sports Talk. I'll see you on the next one.